I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, March the 21st, brought to you in part by Bovilis Vision, clostridial vaccines that spur cattle forward and never backward. Each is powered by the proprietary Spur adjuvant that boosts vaccine performance while causing fewer reactions and reducing stress on the cattle post-vaccination. And each bottle that you buy gives you a chance to win a custom hat from Greeley Hat Works, similar to the one that I've got on. For a chance to win, go to powered-by-spur, poweredbyspur.com with the hyphens included. Also, Beaver County Stockyards, another big run for them. Probably 3,500 by the time they get them all rounded up. Probably 1,500 head of feeder cattle, be 6 to 8 straight loads of 8 to 9 weight yearling steers. There's going to be 2 loads of replacement quality heifers, and I mean fancy. Straight Angus, 1 load of blacks, 1 load of reds. Fella bought them up there local as replacements, been running them out, doesn't have the feed to hold them anymore. He's going to have to let them go to somebody else, but you can get in there and buy those. Load of red Angus replacement heifers, load of black Angus replacement heifers, guys, weighing in the heavy 6s. They're going to have a lot of those little 4 to 6 weight hard calf weight yearlings. They're old croppers, guys. They've been hard wintered. You couldn't kill one. And then they're looking rough, but they just need some grass, guys. And if you've got a place to put them, you got to get in on them. You guys that still need your Flint Hill grass cattle, got to get in on those. Going to have a pretty good run of regular calves too. Man, 90% of those be weaned heavy on the 4 to 6 weights. And just a really nice run of cattle there. They're also going to have, in conjunction with that, the 8th annual Out West Bull Sale. That is some small local breeders there that's been doing this, like I said, for several years. Got about 43 head of registered Angus bulls. They're also going to have females in there, some first calf heifer pairs. They're going to have 50 head of open heifers coming out of purebred herds there, guys. But a really nice sale at Beaver County Stockyards. If you're interested in watching or bidding on that sale, go to dvauction.com. You need to get a hold of them beforehand to get approved if you want to bid. In like a lion, out like a tiger. This month of March has not been a friendly one for many areas. I tell you what, the Northern Plains has had just straight winter. They haven't had a let up yet. Just every week, another storm, another storm, another storm. The snow just continues to stack up. It's going to be great once it gets here, once the warm weather gets here and it melts, and hopefully it doesn't get here all at once and cause a lot of flooding. If we could get some mild warming and let that water soak down into the ground, get some deep moisture there, is what they really need to get past the drought that they've had the last 2 or 3 years up there. But and that would be great for the farming up there, but they have had no relief from this winter. Out west, it's been cold and wet, lots of moisture, but not much sunshine to go with it. And they just have storm after storm come through, like they haven't had in forever. In other places, in the southern plains and even in the southeastern places, all it's been is cold and windy and miserable. I mean, there's just been no relief in sight. We thought as hard as March came in, if you go by the old adage, that maybe it'd start straightening out. I guess it could the middle of next week, but it's going to have to hurry, guys. There's been nothing. And thank God for global warming. How cold could it have been this past winter if we didn't have that stuff? But starting this week out with no help from the Cattle on Feed report, although, like I said, it was bullishly neutral. Your board paid no attention to it, and it just seems like the board is paying no attention at all to fundamentals. Nobody wants to take the opportunity to make some money with the undervalued board that's been oversold, and it's all just investors, and they're just worried about bank failures and things like that. And with interest getting higher. There's different places to put their money, but that's been kind of a fail here. Your futures market is not being able to keep up. And actually your spot feeder cattle are about steady, close to steady with what your cattle are bringing in the sales. And we're still looking at a premium going out front. But on your fat cattle, my gosh, they're expecting this fat cattle market to back up quite a bit. Yes, it was some lower last week, but already this week, on Monday, we've sold cattle at the extreme top of last week's market at 166 in Iowa already, guys. So if the guys will just refuse to take any less than that, we'll have a higher market. I think there's an opportunity to do that. I can't stress enough, and I'm going to keep telling you guys about it, the way they're harvesting these cattle, which is about like similar years and about like last year, the carcass weights are so much lighter. It's the same as having more than 10,000 head less cattle that they're harvesting each week. That's got to show up, guys, in the amount of product that they have to sell, and they've got a lot of it promised here for the spring, and that's when we should see our box beef cutout values spark again here and start getting higher as people get really aggressive in the stores buying steaks to throw on the grill after they've dusted the grill off. I got my grill out on Monday night and I had a few repairs to do on that, but got it fired up, and we had a nice steak there. And I think a lot of other people are going to be thinking the same thing. But some other things you want to look at is your NCBA. They've had a change of reign here in the last couple of months, but and I told you guys this was coming. If you'll just kind of listen, I usually tell you guys when stuff's coming, but they are coming out pro mandatory ID. Now, I don't know how you can put something in like that. You're running off everybody's checkoff dollars for 70% or more of your budget. You just stack layer and layer and layer of bureaucracy, get all these committees and do things like that, and then you can come out and say that you're for what almost any realistic cattle producer would be totally against, and just feel okay with that. I guess they just want to run what few small producers we still have completely out of the business. I would venture to say, and I think a lot of you could probably agree with me, there's probably as many cattle producers, I mean people that own cattle, that don't have a head gate as there is that do. And you're wanting every one of them to put electronic ID tag in their cattle's ear. It's not really doable, guys. It's kind of like the California governor coming out and saying, we're not going to sell any internal combustion engines in 12 years. Right? We're not there yet, guys. We're not there. We're not there on everybody putting the mandatory ID tags in. And I tell you what, they might get a little bit too cute and start pushing some stuff, and they've had good luck pushing things through with people not fighting them too much, and then pushing against things that people want and kind of doing it under the radar. You get to pushing this deal and people are going to rear up on you, guys. And you can find other smaller groups. You can find your grassroots groups that are affiliates much of the time. They are not going to go for this. And I'm just telling you, suits at NCBA, you keep trying to cram this stuff down people's throats, eventually they're not going to take it. And you say, well, yeah, but if they retain ownership, send their cattle out to a TCFA approved feed yard or a KLA member feed yard, they're automatically a member. And then we can count them as somebody in our group, and people in Washington listen and do things like that. Well, they'll figure out a way to get their name off your rolls if you keep pushing them hard enough. Let's talk about your board. To start the week out, April live cattle futures were down 30 cents at 160.202. June down 87 at 155.52. Really? 155 and a half here in just a few weeks. Your back months were down 65 cents to up 30. Your last two traded months, the farthest out, were up. Same on feeder cattle, but March feeder cattle were down 65 cents at 188.20, trading at a discount to your real-time index. April down 2 cents at 194.62. Your back months were down 80 cents to up 27, and there again your last two traded months were higher. May corn down 1 1/4 cent at 6.33. December new crop down 1 1/4 cent at 5.60. May beans up 9 1/2 at 14.86 a bushel. Weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade on a direct basis out of your 5 area feeding region, 59,600 head, more than we thought, but they did get a little bit of late trade there. That compares to 64,100 last week and 60,500 the same week a year ago. Live sales of steers and heifers last week in your 5 area ranged all the way from 161 1/2, where you only had 205 head trade, all the way up to 166, where you had 361 head trade, and we've already seen about 3 loads sell at 166 this week. Keep that in mind, guys. But that 161 1/2 to 166 was steady to $2 lower. The weighted average on live steers was 164.17 last week, down $1.23. Dress sales range from 260 to 265, $2 to $3.50 lower. Weighted average on dress steers was 263.82, down $1.50 compared to the weighted average from the previous week. Nationwide, we sold 76,300 head negotiated from coast to coast. That compares to 79,900 last week and 74,900 same week a year ago. Of the 76,300, 29% of those were for the 2 to 4 week delivery. I can't understand how people will do that. Here, you got all the cards in your hand, you got all the leverage, and you're selling cattle 2 to 4 weeks out like the packers don't need your cattle. They're extremely short bought. They're extremely hungry. We're extremely tight on market ready supplies, and people are selling 2 to 4 weeks out, trying to give the packers a foothold to keep driving this market down. But there's just fewer negotiated sellers all the time, and it's hard to pick at them. Some of my friends that feed cattle that are competition guys, hardcore negotiated guys, they're falling for these sweetheart deals because they're bringing back so much more money. Why do the packers want to give more money? Why are they willing to give more money on these sweetheart deals? Because you promise them all your cattle, and then they have their needs taken care of, captive supplies, and now they're getting so close to having so few of negotiated sellers, especially in the southern plains and in the Northwest and places like that, where there's just very, very few negotiated sellers at all. They want to rub what few of them there are out, and then they'll have it like the hog processors had it and the hogs in 1998, and just completely took the hog feeding away from the individuals. They're getting close to doing that. They're not doing it in Nebraska and Iowa yet, but they would sure love to, guys. But 76,300 negotiated nationwide, 48,000 more negotiated grid. Forward contract was 24,800, and formula sweetheart sales 266,900 head. They don't have that many more to go, guys. They can take it over. Breakdown of your 5 area feeding regions, although Colorado we don't get any information of, so it's hard to call it 5 area, right? Iowa sold 23,600 last week. Nebraska sold 21,800. Kansas only 9,300, and Texas only sold 5,000 head of negotiated cattle last week. Box beef cutout values were mixed to open the week. Choice was down $2.33 at $281.02. Selects up $1.50 at $273.94. Your slaughter to start the week starts out pretty good with 125,000 estimated. That's about what we need. Talk about what else is going on. Andy Cunningham is Night Latch Group. He's in western Oklahoma, guys, but he can handle your needs wherever you're at. He's the one that has figured out these gross margin policies to help you hold on to your investment. He can manage both your corn risk and your cattle risk with one easy policy there, and you still get it subsidized by the government. They'll pick up a pretty good percentage of that. It's good for you cattle feeders. Yes, the LRPs are great for backgrounders, but for you cattle feeders, you need to look into these gross margin policies with somebody that knows how to do it. For more information, go to nightlatch.net. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 188.87, down 11 cents from the end of last week. I want to tell you about a sale that you Eastern feeders need to get in. Abington Tele-Auction, the Abington Feeder Cattle Association in Virginia. It's a deal that's put together with the Virginia Cattlemen's Association, your producers down in Abington, Virginia area, the outreach, all those groups come together and they work together. They've got a really good sale there. It's going to be on dvauction.com. They've been doing that for the last several years. Used to just be a tele-auction, but they do broadcast that on dvauction.com. And if you guys in the Eastern Corn Belt want to buy some really, really nice cattle to feed, get on there. They've got 22 loads. About, I think there's 11 loads of steers and 11 loads of heifers. Long time weaned. All the health protocol. The cattle have just been running out either on grass or hay, getting no more than 1 or 1.5% of their body weight commodity feed just so they can handle them and get them in. I mean, it's a no-brainer to check that sale out. If you haven't ever watched one, you need to at least get on and watch it. It's going to be here tonight, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. It's the Abington Feeder Cattle Association's tele-auction sale. Get on there and listen to Butch Foster holler at them, and that's fun to do. Talk about your big sales on a Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City had 5,700 head. Fairly light run for them. Steers, feeders and calves steady to $3 higher. Feeder heifers steady to $3 lower. Heifer calves mostly steady. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 7,700 head. Good run for them. The market was mostly steady except for a few peewee heifers, and they were steady to $4 higher. It had a huge stick-out sale, a big draft. 450 head of stocker heifers there, weigh 674. Put together heifers, all black, outstanding quality, in good condition on them. No implants or anything like that, but they were going out. But 450 head, weigh 674 at $1.94. That's a good sale right there, guys. Talk about your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day was Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa. 4,100 head for them. Hadn't had a sale in a couple weeks. Your trend on feeders was higher. Calves was lower. Look at your best tested weights on this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You see 577 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 555 at 233.17 on the weighted average. 382 head of 6-weight steers, average 655 at 220.75. 489 head of 7-weight steers, Russell, Iowa, average 755. Weighted average price $195.23. On the heifers, 308 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average 540. Weighted average price $201.60. 499 head of 6-weight heifers, average 6.5 at $185.12. And 423 head 7-weight heifers, average 735 at $182.37. Give you a few individual quotes. How about Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota? They sell 56 head of steers, weigh 670 at $236.75. My goodness. How about Callaway Livestock Center there? Jack Harris and a lot of my good friends go to that sale every week. 60 head of big steers in Callaway, weighed 915 pounds at $185.35. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, Your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day. Come out of Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. DV auction broadcaster sells 63 steers, weigh 826 at $1.99. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.